Okay, this is our last new lesson. We were talking about compound interest. I know we quickly did this on Friday, and I said, don't worry, I'll teach you about it on Monday when I'm back, and then I wasn't back until today. So we're going to do this now. Like I said, you guys got your wish. The test is back on Friday again. But tomorrow we're going to review. Listen, your homework tonight is to finish the review, which I assigned on Monday. If you have any I can't even think of the word. If you have any questions on the Desmos that you just have to have answered, you can come ask me, but I'm probably not going to spend time in class going over it because the review is more along the lines of what's on the test. Please bring your toolkits tomorrow so we can update those. We have a couple of things to add to them. I think that's it. So before we move on, I do want to remind you of our equation. It's written at the top of your paper. And we talked about this on Friday. So remember, A was our final amount. P is our principal. And what did principal mean again? The initial amount. Good. And then I have times 1 plus or minus R. Why do I have to do 1 plus or minus R? Yeah, so 1 stands for 100% of my initial amount, and then I either add the rate if I'm growing or I subtract the rate if I'm decreasing. And then T is the amount of time that has passed, okay? I don't have any of those right now. Okay. Not right now, no. Okay. We're going to get started. I'm going to do numbers 1, 3, and 5. You're going to do 2, 4, and 6. Okay, once we do these, I have a very good feeling that the questions you skipped on the review will make so much more sense to you. So let's go through these. It says Marlene opened a savings account and deposited $600. So I want to highlight that because that's important information. Also, if you don't have a calculator right now, you need one. And I recommend you get the calculator you will be using on the test. Get the calculator you're going to use on your test. Okay, so Marlene deposited $600. What else does it say? I do too. It says the account earns what? Okay, it earns 3% interest. So does that mean I'm getting money or I'm losing money? Okay. She leaves her money in the bank for how long? For 8 years. Perfect. Now I want to know, what would the balance be if the interest is compounded annually, okay? We want to know what would the balance be if the interest is compounded annually. And you guys said a lot, and I think you'll actually be surprised to see it's not as much as you think it's going to be, okay? So, because remember, I told you credit cards have high interest rates and savings accounts have low ones. There's a reason for that. Okay, so A, do we know what our final amount's going to be? No, that's what we're looking for, okay? So we don't know that one. Do we know what our principal is? How much is it? Good, that's how much I start with. What about my rate? It is 3%. And how do I write that in my equation? Good, 0.03. I need to write it as a decimal. And is it going to be a plus R or minus R? Why? Because I'm earning money, yes. And what about time? How long has passed? 8 years. Okay, so remember on Friday when we talked about if you added money to a savings account each month, obviously it's going to grow more and faster. This compounded annually, that means it only happens once a year and I don't add any money to the account, okay? So when you have a savings account, is that what I recommend? No, okay? But will you still earn money? Yes, just not as much. So you have A equals what? 600 times what? 1 plus what? 0.03 raised to the 8th power. Now, can you plug this directly into your calculator? Yes. If you didn't want to, though, you can add it and write 1.03 and still plug that in. So on your calculator, you're going to type in 600 parentheses, then either 1 plus 0.03 or 1.03, close parentheses, and then raise it to the 8th power. Do you remember how to put an exponent on your calculator? Yep. It's the little caret symbol, the upside down V. It should be near your square symbol for most of you. You all need to be doing this because this will be on your test. And if you get it wrong because you don't know how to use a calculator, I'm going to say too bad, so sad. Okay, now check your neighbor's calculator to see if they know what they're doing. And if they don't, help them out. Okay, so you should have gotten $760.06. Is that the answer that we got? Okay, so did Marlene actually make a lot of money by compounding annually and never putting any more money in? No, it took her 8 years and she only made $160.06. Okay. Is that better than nothing? Yes. Is that the best way to save? No. Okay, can you try number 2? It's a you try. You try the next one, please. Do all the same kinds of things. Yes. Okay. Okay, try the next one. It's a you try. Did you get it, Nathaniel? Did you figure it out? Okay. Okay. You should be working on number 2 right now. Let's see how we did. Is this what you got? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, is this as bad as you thought it was on Friday? No. Okay, we have... Got it right? Good. We have 4 more, and then I will give you the rest of the time to work on the review, which I'm going to collect. Well, I'm not collecting it because I want you to study, but I will check it tomorrow for completion, okay? Number 3 is our next one. In 2002, the population of school children in a city was how much? 90,000. Good, 90,000. This population, what? Decreases at a rate of? It's going to be minus 5% each year. What will the population of the school children be in the year 2010? So I have to find A, P, R, and T. Do I know the final amount? Do I know A? No. In most of these cases, A is going to be what you're looking for. What is the principal? 90,000. Okay. What is the rate? Minus 0.05. Good. And for my time,
8 years?
It will be 8 years. And I want to show you why it's 8 and not 9. So in 2002, that's year 0, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I write out all my years until 2010, which I'm going to do. Okay, I know, but it's actually not. It's not 8 years. T is 8, but it's not 8 years, and I want you guys to see this, okay? So from 2002 to 2010, count up how many years I put right there. Okay, there are 9 years up there because the first year is the 0. 2002 is the 0 year. So T is going to be 8. Okay, listen to me. T is going to be 8 because it's in the 8th year, but I'm looking at a year 0. Does that make sense? Okay. So if I plug this in, I have A equals what? 90,000 times what? 1 minus raised to the... Okay, good. Can you solve this? I have no idea. Or they're moving, or... Did you say the coronavirus? Okay, so at the end of that time period, I have what? 59,000.84. I'm going to round that to 8. Okay, now Can I have 8/10 of a person? No. So how many whole people do I have? 59,707, okay? Now, if I were just to look at this number normally, would I round it up or down? I would round it up. But since we were talking about the full or whole amount of holes that we have, I only have 59,707. So we would write in 2010, the population of school children would be how much? Would be 59,707. And it's important that you write this down because I need you to understand why it's this number. Because on your test, I might ask you something similar to this. And I'm not saying that because I will. I don't remember what's on the test, but there's probably something along the lines of this. Okay, move on. Let's do number 4. That's a you try. You do number 4. Work on that one. Try number 4. Okay, are you ready for these answers? Okay, you have 30 seconds. Okay, check these answers to number 4. Did you get this right? Did we get the right answer? You have, like, brain damage, probably, yes.
What's the weather like? I don't know. Like, I think I need Google to help me remember.
Like the NFL commercial. That one was so sad. I mean, the Super Bowl one.
Oh yeah.
With that old man. Okay, did we get this answer right? Do you know what's happening? Okay, number 5 has a curved ball. So ask me your questions on this one before I move on. The fraction isn't the curved ball.
There's a fraction on like fraction.
You have a calculator. Fraction is just division. Okay, I want to talk about it, but I don't want to move on past this one yet. Diego, do you have a question on number 4? What's your question? I don't know either. Okay, listen. Number 5 says you bought your first car in 2013 for $15,500. Every year after your purchase, the car is worth 5/6 of its value. Okay, that's the part that I want to talk to you about. And the curveball is not the fraction. The curveball is the word worth. Okay? So, before I've seen grown, increases, appreciates, earns. I've also seen decrease. I've seen lose. I've seen decay. But worth, that just means that is the multiplier, okay? It says you take great care of the car and decide to sell it in 2018. So we're filling in these values, okay? I have A equals, P equals, R, and T. I want to talk about R first because that's the part that I was talking about. Okay, if I was saying the car loses 5/6 of its value, I would do 1 minus 5/6. If I said the car gains or earns 5/6 of its value, I would do 1 plus 5/6. But what does this say? It is worth 5/6 of its value. So that number just gets plugged into the parentheses, okay? Another way of saying worth 5/6 is loses 1/6 of its value, okay? If it's worth something, that is just what goes into the parentheses. I don't have to add or subtract that from 1. If it's worth that amount, just plug it in. That is the multiplier, okay? So, I don't have to add or minus. Instead, I will just plug in 5/6 like that, okay? If I said lost 5/6, it would be 1 minus that. But it is worth it, so I'm just going to plug it in and multiply. Do I know what my final A is? Do I know my amount? No. Do I know my principal? It's 15,500. And my T, how much time? 5 years. So I have A equals 15,500 times, and I just plug in 5/6. Now be careful, because when it says loses, you have to subtract. If it says earns, you have to add. But if it's worth, that means it's the same. I'm going to raise this to the 5th power. If you don't know how to plug this into your calculator, you might type in 15,500, parentheses 5 divided by 6, close parentheses, raised to the 5th power. That should give you an answer. Okay, the fraction really isn't as difficult as you think it is. So, after 5 years, how much is my car worth? Good, $6,229.10. So, in just 5 years, my car has already lost almost $10,000 worth of its original value. Okay, that's pretty typical of a car. That's one thing, is cars lose their value very quickly. Why do cars lose their value quickly? Yeah, you use it every day. You drive it around a lot. You put a lot of wear and tear on your car, okay? Now, I was talking to some of my morning classes because somebody in my 3rd period tried to buy or was planning to buy a car in the last month. If you're looking to buy a used car, and I don't know if any of you knew this, I learned this when Angel was buying his car. For however many years old the car is, it should have 10,000 to 15,000 miles on it, okay? So if you're buying a car that's 5 years old, it should have 50,000 up to 75,000 miles on it. So if you're buying a 5-year-old car with 100,000 miles on it, it's not good, okay? It's not worth it because it has too many miles on it. Now, if you're like my dad, his car has like 70,000 miles on it, and it is 15 years old, which means he drives like 2,000 miles a year because he works down the street from the Ontario Mills, and he has 3 grown children who he has chauffeur him around all the time. So yeah, he doesn't even put his own gas in his car, so I guess that's what you can aspire to be. Okay, so that is, cars lose their value very quickly because there's so much wear and tear put on them, okay? So that's why many people say don't buy a new car. Buying a used car is just fine, but be careful when you're buying a used car because you want to make sure you're getting your money's worth for it, okay? Can you do number 6 for me now, please? Read it carefully as far as the rate part goes. Okay, here is your answer. Why is my final rate 3/4 instead of 1/4?
Because that's how many, that's how many that you have still.
Yes, you eat 1/4 in a minute. So I take away 1/4 every minute. But there is 3/4 left over, okay? Remember, that's why I said be careful on number 5. Because it was worth 5/6, which means I lost 1/6 of the value. Here, I'm losing 1/4 of the hot dogs to my belly because I ate them. Okay, so 3/4 is left. You should not have. You should not have gotten the right answer.
Really?
Yes.
That's what I did.
1 minus. Okay, check this. That's our last question.